It's Kwanzaa time, friends. It's Kwanzaa time. Get high. At the new Black Wall Street Market. Thank you for being here kindly. My name is Aziza Afi. I am very, very grateful to be here. I am an Atlanta native, and I was raised celebrating Kwanzaa, and I'm very happy about it. Are you happy about it? Yes. And I am so humbled and so happy to be here today to share with you a few principles and facts about Kwanzaa. And also, we're going to have a great story time because, as you all know, story time is a part of the traditions that we carry on today. Is that right, family? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, my first question to you all is, Habarigani. Kujichagulia. Self-determination. Self-determination, self-determination. The principle of Kujichagulia is extremely important. It is our second principle of Kwanzaa. And self-determination, although because it has the word self inside of it, many may believe that it's all about you, myself, just me. However, self-determination also identifies thyself, yourself, as ourselves together. So the principle of self-determination reminds us to be determined for ourselves as well as being determined with the principle of unity in mind, community in mind, reflections. What I do can affect you, and what you do can affect me. The most beautiful thing about Kujichagulia and self-determination is that it means we get to name ourselves. We get to decide what we want to be, who we want to be, how we want to be. Do you all feel the power in that?
Yes.
Let me know if you feel the power in self-determination. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Before I light the candles of the Kanara for Kwanzaa, I would like to just take a moment to give a brief history about Kwanzaa and why we do commemorate Kwanzaa at this time. Kwanzaa was founded by Professor Malala. Thank you. Maulana Karenga. It's very important. That's a good lesson. When you speak the names of powerful people, make sure that you speak it with intention. And we're going to get into that, of course, when we do libation. However, Professor Karenga saw what was happening in the 1960s in America, specifically in the Watts area, because they had the Watts riot at that time. And it was a lot of turmoil. And it was very important for us to have something else, because we have plenty, but we also needed Kwanzaa. So he was studying African studies at the time, and he looked inside of all of the different beautiful cultural weavings that Africa brings and the diaspora of Africa brings. So he took pieces from South Africa. He took pieces from West Africa, East Africa, North Africa, and beyond, and wove them together into what we now call Kwanzaa. Mic check, yes, Kwanzaa. We have the 7 principles that are in the Swahili language. And he chose the Swahili language because it is a language of the diaspora. Swahili is spoken in so many, many countries all over the continent of Africa. So as a way to make sure that we here in America, whether you identify as African lineage or you just know that you're me and I'm you, right? You just feel the connection. It's not separated by, oh, this is only Ghana, this is only South Africa, this is only Kenya, this is only Ethiopia. No, it is us all. Another beautiful thing about Kwanzaa is the interconnected thread that allows for all of us to have our own spiritual connection, religions, so on and so forth, and still participate in Kwanzaa. Because Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. Kwanzaa is a cultural commemoration and remembrance of who we are and who we will be. That's what's powerful about Kwanzaa. It allows us to take away some of those things that may feel like we're separated. And we have a moment to come together, sing songs together, find our parallels, find our similarities, and become stronger together. And I am so grateful and so happy for us to do that today. Let's get into it. Can I get some light drums, please? A little vibration for the healing of the nation. Yesterday, the principle of Kwanzaa was umoja. Can I hear you say umoja? Umoja. Yes. Umoja means unity. And unity is the black candle. What's interesting about the color black is that it carries all of the colors of the spectrum inside of it. That is a perfect reason for it to represent unity. Ashe. I want to let you all know, if you don't know, when I say Ashe, that simply means, and so beautifully means, and so it is. And so it is. And so it is. It's another language. We're getting some language education in here. We love it. Habarigani family. Kujichagulia. Habarigani family. What? I better see some words coming out some people's mouths. Habarigani family. That's right. Words sound power. You gotta Kujichagulia. Self-determination. Thank you. So, for Kujichagulia, we will light the red candle. Traditionally, in Kwanzaa, all of these items mean something, of course. Your candles have meaning. The red, because naturally in life we have struggle and we have to overcome that struggle. The green for our prosperity and the black for our togetherness. The corn for our children, our ancestors. And as we continue through our festivities, these candles will stay lit. And if you at home choose to participate in Kwanzaa, it is a very beautiful meditation to have these 7-day candles lit in your home for all 7 days. It's very powerful, very beautiful. And when you have the opportunity to talk about what each of these 7 principles, the Nguza Saba, what these 7 principles can enrich inside of you, I promise y'all gonna feel it. So take the opportunity just to read the word of the day and align yourself with it. Self-determination. Who do you want to be? Who do you want us to be? Ashe. Right now, I would like to bring up an elder, a brother who is going to lead us in the libation for the day. Yes, Baba, please.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be present to work the libation for today, Kujichagulia, self-determination. And I think before I begin the libation, I'd like to make a few comments. And that is to say that the reason why we're here on New Black Wall Street, the reason why we're here with the drum, the reason why we're here as who we are and who we represent ourselves to be, is that part of our struggle here in America is to be as authentic as we can. And as you see the backdrop of the film footage, in some respects, it tells our story, it tells our narrative. Our narrative in terms of bits and pieces of who we were before the Maafa, the great disaster, the enslavement and colonization of new African people. It's important for us to also recall that the tragedy of the Maafa is still an ongoing process. And some of that ongoing process was also reflected in the video too. And so we must always understand that our learning as an African people is ongoing. And there's so much that we have to pluck out, if you will. Our processes, we must understand we have to decolonize our mind. We have to extract the European that resides within us. As W.B. Du Bois said in 1906, we have to fight this twin myth, this being African and American. And the only way we can do that is through struggle. So the invention of Kwanzaa is, in many respects, an evidence of that struggle. Much of Kwanzaa is the acknowledgement of Dr. Maulana Karenga. But it's important to understand that sometimes that narrative also is absent, that it came out of a collective organization, the us organization, and oftentimes it is the leader that takes the credit for collective exercise or corrective development or corrective birth of a practice. And so it's a building process. So when our dear sister was talking about, Ghana and Nigeria and the other various other places and locations of Africa, we also have to remember that when we are here in the Americas, whether it be it North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, it's also a process because we come from many different nations of Africa. So when you hear libation, for example, it's important for us to acknowledge that the libation is as old as an African people. It is the spirit of recognizing ultimate reality, what some people call God. And if we know that, for example, that there are thousands, hear me, in one nation, Nigeria. Nigeria happens to be the largest nation of African people. The largest nation. The second would be Brazil. The third would be our population here in the United States Empire. And that's why it's important for us to understand how important language is. Because I said United States Empire. And when we use these words, it resonate, and it should force us to interrogate what that all means. Empire. United States Empire. An empire, if we study our history, has both positive and negative connotations. But it's important for us to deconstruct that. Because you saw on the video at some point it had Egypt or ancient Kemet. It had an empire. Positive attributes, negative attributes. We go to Nubia. Positive attributes, negative attributes. And it is our job to glean from the best of who we are and the best of our traditions. I mentioned ultimate reality earlier. I said that in Nigeria there are over 1,000 different ethnic groups, if you will. It means that there are at least well over 1,000 different names for God. It means that there are cultural practices that we also have to glean and find out what the best is for us. You see here red, black, and green, and Garvey is the one who pretty much put the handle on those colors. But also we must understand that sometimes the order and construction of those colors are important. You see this sash that is around my neck. The difference is that you'll see that there is a green configuration, a narrow red configuration, and a black configuration. This was something that was developed in 1968 by the New African Independence Movement, people who developed the Republic of New Africa, if you will. Queen Mother Moore, Audley Moore, a person who we all must know because we know that within the last 2 years, reparations has been on the agenda, and we've seen it nationally. But for Queen Mother Moore, reparations wouldn't be where we are right now today. She transitioned about 10 years ago. She was part of Marcus Garvey's Women's Collective, part of his Youth Collective, and she was the one in New Orleans who said, Garvey speak, Garvey speak. It's important for us to understand that part of the libation is to call out the names of our ancestors. Ancestors who were born in struggle and who mean something to us, which also means that we are to imbibe the best of who they represent. We all have ancestors. As family, we have contradictions, which means that in times like this, it's important for us to call out those ancestors who were born to struggle, who led the way, who understood that love is a process that helps heal us in where we are right now, but also is a process to understand why we need to struggle in this protracted war that we're in. Our sister who offered me to come in to do the libation, what I noticed was, besides the colors and the cowrie shells, I should say that, many of us don't realize that cowrie shells are very symbolic. They represent the womb of life in which we all have come out of. They are also used in various divinations, where African ancestors begin to give the prescriptions in terms of what the individual family is going on or what the nation of the people are going on. But it also represents the currency of enslavement, too. It meant that Europe, if you will, the Europeans who were the traders of African flesh, used that to barter with Africans who were, unfortunately, had a lack of understanding in terms of what was going on. And so it is nothing to them in terms of currency, the cowrie shell, but to us it meant something. So we have to have a responsibility to dig deep into our history, and that's what libation does from a spiritual, emotional, psychological way. It allows us to imbibe and get that energy. I also noticed on our sister, she had Bela Kuta. Yeah, and so when it comes time to those rhythms that actually invoke a lot of that movement, Bela Kuta, all I can say is that no matter what tune he's doing, it evokes an energy that makes these old bones want to rock with it. And that's why it's so important to represent the drums in that energy. It is important for us to recognize that it is that energy that and that faith that's going to keep us going. Part of this libation, our sister had used the term ashe, said so it is. Because we're an African people, there's some people here who represent the traditions out of Ghana or other places. Insa would be that word. If we were to go to Haiti, it would be Ababo. If we were just to understand the nature of Kiswahili, she mentioned Kiswahili in her presentation and representation. Uzua represents that. And it's important to understand that those of us who have been a part of the Christian tradition, a man represents that too. So we need to embrace all of those words of power and recognize that those words of power should push us and propel us to be the best of who we are. Because we have a lot of work to do here in North America. We have a lot of work to do in the diaspora. We have a lot of work to do on the continent of Africa. There is corruption. Because we recognize that, like I said, it's our responsibility to be ambassadors and represent the best of our traditions. And so I'm going to not assume that everybody understands everything about libation. But what I can say is that we see in this Kujichagulia, this unity cup, which happens to be a cup that was created in Haiti. And Haiti was the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere. Haiti was the first nation to abolish slavery. Haiti was the first nation to help liberate some of the African indigenous nations on the continent and also South America. And so we have to recognize the traditions and the strength of our people. We have water. We have a plant, soil. I don't care how far you go back and which creation story you look at. It is always the soil and the water that represents the building of a human being. How much percentage of our bodies are soil? How many of water? All I'm saying is that we also have to acknowledge that the symbolism means something. It's tied to a reality that we have to deal with. So when we do libation, and I'm going to share a little bit more history too. It was the blessings in that same period, late 1960s, early 1970s, that the psychologists, both sisters and brothers, began to look out on the streets and realize that the issue of ancestral memory resided in those brothers who were on the corners with that MD 2020 or that Coke or that liquor. Bottom line, they always hit that cap and said, this is for the homies who aren't here. And all I'm saying is, part of this is to try to begin to understand that there is history that needs to be dealt with, and that we need to study more and give thanks to those psychologists who've given us that information. And so what I'm going to start by doing is with the first drink is to the Creator. And because this is a community activity, I want you all to be a part of this and call out your our national sheroes and heroes. Hear what I said? Sheroes and heroes, which means all of you, remember, when I came up in Kwanzaa, and Mama Nabantu came up in Kwanzaa, most all we heard was they talking about all the brothers. We now understand that sisters hold up half the sky. And so we got to go ahead and call out those heroes also. So, call out the names of our heroes, national heroes and heroes.
Shirley Chisholm. Kwame Nkrumah. Betty Shabazz. Marcus Garvey. Kujichagulia. Sacagawea. Queen Nanny.
We have began to call out some of those heroes, and some of those names and those heroes and heroes were actually freedom fighters who fought against enslavement and colonization. Now, what I want you to do is, because with libation, it's all about bringing the family together. So you've got some family members who are ancestors. So bring them into this party. Our family are here, but also represent who we are to be. So we recognize that we have children in our loins. So we give thanks for them. We give thanks for the future generations who are going to have to carry this torch much further than we've taken. We also have to recognize that we have political prisoners, prisoners of war, and people who are in exile who have fought for us. And lastly, what I want to say is it's important for us to do libation not only during Kwanzaa, but do libation every day. Because that's where the strength comes from. Everyday affirmation in terms of who we are, authentic as who we are to be. So I say, thank you much.
Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause, please, family. Ashe. Yes. How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Yes. That's wonderful. I am 100% sure that at this moment, we are going to move into story time. Yes, I see the excitement on your faces. So, if we can Do you need a brief moment?
As you speak about the importance of story in our community, historically and now, I'll be getting my stuff.
Great. I will do that. I will do that. So, yes. Well, as we know, we didn't always write things down. We had orators that would tell our stories, and the only way for the story or knowledge to be continued was for you to go and sit at the feet of someone with the knowledge to share with you. And it allowed for us to tap into our ability to memorize things in accuracy. It tapped into our ability to maintain the integrity of the stories that we're telling. Because if it's not written down, how do you make sure that it's true? How do you make sure that the story stays the same? Have you ever played telephone? It's the game where you sit around and you whisper in someone's ear, and by the time it gets to the end, whatever was whispered in the person's ear usually changes. But when you really think about storytelling as the art, as the science, right? As the cultural tool, the historic tool for us to use, it is extremely, extremely powerful. Like I said, it helps you maintain the integrity of the story, to find truth, and to test your mind in memorizing what's real. So let's get into this story time.
to climbing up into heaven to the God of all things and bringing down this story. Up! You, I choose you, your child. Up your mouth. Come on, let's go. Check it out. Arms up. Let's go. Once upon the earth. Once upon the earth, Anansi was a very powerful fighter. She loved adventure. Say, please. Say, I love adventure. And she went, let's go, follow me. By the way, she went on an adventure that took her far away from home. I think one master won't have to be enough. I'll give y'all a smile. She went on an adventure. And when she went on this adventure, she got lost. Everyone say lost, 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 lost. And as the sun disappeared in the sky, oh, the moon was shining bright. She said, I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. And then she took a bad step. Leg up, leg down, up, other leg up, other leg down. And she fell into, say, water. Oh, Sister Anansi said, I cannot swim. I cannot swim. Oh, and she sank to the bottom of a river. Everyone say, oh no. Oh no. Sister Anansi. But she did not worry. She did not fret until a fish. Sis fish. That's you. Come. Sis fish saw Anansi at the bottom of her river. Oh, Sis fish said, ha ha, a spider, lunch. And she began to swim. Come on, oh, say sis fish. Say sis fish. Say go eat. Anansi. Anansi screamed. But before she knew it, she was in the belly of the fish. Say, oh no. Say, oh my. Say, what to do? Anansi. Oh, Anansi didn't know what to do. But in African connectedness, far, far away was her brother. Oh, come on, brother. Was her elder brother. See trouble. Oh, he looked to the right. He looked to the left. He said, I see trouble.
I need trouble.
I see trouble.
I see trouble.
A long way off.
A long way off.
See trouble had seen the trouble, even though he was far, far away from it. He knew, everyone say connected. He knew that Sis Anansi was in trouble. Say, see trouble. Saw the trouble. Y'all got me going. Say, see trouble. Saw the trouble. See trouble had seen the trouble and called on another of that spider family. Say connection. Connection. You. pick it up. Say road builder, build the road. Say see trouble, all the trouble. Say she be a Nazi, she be a spider. Oh, after all the water was gone, more trouble. Hey, they knew that a Nazi was in the belly of the fish. You. They called on their brother, Gabe Skinner. Good. Everyone say, Gabe Skinner. I didn't say King Skinner. Gabe Skinner could split things open. Come on, Gabe Skinner, give me some moves. Oh, you seen this before. Gabe Skinner, he said, I'll split that fish open.
I'll split that fish open.
Yo, brother.
No problem.
Say, my sister will be free.
My sister will be free.
Oh, ready? 1, 2, do what I do. Say, Gabe Skinner. Split it open. Gabe Skinner. Split it open. Gabe Skinner came down. Come on, follow me, Gabe Skinner. Let's go slow. And he grabbed the fish. Don't worry, I'm with you. And he split the fish open. Oh, fish said, oh no. Say, that's the end of me. Oh, let's do a big dramatic death. Oh, turn. And lean to the right, lean to the left. Oh, everyone say, bless the fish. Say, bless the fish. Say, bless that fish. Now give the fish a hand. Ow. Ow. So it seemed that a Nazi was free. A Nazi said, ow, ow. Oh, say, I'm free. But it's awesome to be me. Let's say that I'm out. I'm free. It's awesome to be me. But then, more trouble, more trouble, more trouble's coming. Ooh, more trouble, more trouble, more trouble's coming. It was Sister Bird, very high in the sky. Oh, oh, that's Sister Big old feet. Oh, everyone say Sister Bird, very hungry, very hungry for a Nazi. Sister Bird said, I need another morsel to feed my baby. She swooped down and she took a Nazi up into the sky. Oh, oh, just hold one hand right here. Oh, no hands. Well, let's do it. A Nazi screamed. Oh, and then they called on the next fighter. And that was Stone Thrower. Everybody say Stone. down on the ground. Anansi was falling. Anansi was spiraling. Anansi was plummeting down, down, down to the ground. And then, all of a sudden, on the scene was the youngest of the spiders. And her name was Cushion. And Cushion, she said, say sister, I'm here. Say sister, I got you. Oh, say sister, say brother, say I'm here. Look at someone say, I got you. Oh, say sister, say brother, I'm here. Say I got you. And then Anansi fell, and Cushion held up all 8 of her spider arms, and before she knew it, she had landed, boom, on her sister. Oh, who was Cushion? Soft as a pillow, soft as a towel. She just bounced, 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 bounced. Oh, she was saved. Everyone, get up, pull down. Everyone say, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe. Let's pull together. Oh, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe. Y'all pull together. Oh, lesson from the ancestors. Lesson in the story. Use your kaumba, your creativity. Oh, be self-determined. Decide who you're gonna be, what you're gonna be, what we're gonna be. Use all of the Kwanzaa principles, and we, all of us, can be, do great things. We can do great things. Say pull together. Say work together. Say depend on each other. Say do great things. Say believe. Oh, conceive. You know it. Say do it. Say nothing to it. Ready? And everyone say Harambe. And that was the end of that. You know how they live happily ever what? Y'all give it up for C Trouble. Good. Give it up for Cushion. Give it out, ladies. Oh, we gotta do that. Give out a big round of applause for River Drinker. Hey, Anna. Oh, brother. You all may sit down and give it up for our first girl. Oh, would you please sit down? Jump up Thank you, I'm Mama Koku.
Can we give another round of applause for our Griot in the house? Yes. Another beautiful aspect of storytelling is that in our community, we have a word known as the Griot, and that, or Griot, depending on how you pronounce it, and that is the word for our storyteller. They help us remember our genealogy, help us remember the stories of courage, of different principles. So we are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciative of them holding on to that knowledge for our community. Ashe? Yes. Now I would like to present our, wait, hold on. Let me make sure. Are y'all good? Y'all good? Awesome. I'd like to present our next speaker. This brother is going to share more knowledge with us, of course, because that's what the days are for. And his name is Brother Tut. So if we can all give a round of applause. Oh my goodness, he was just our other spider. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Habari gani? Habari gani? Kujichagulia, my favorite principle. Kujichagulia is a principle that gives us the opportunity to see ourselves as a nation, as we should as African people. Because determining for self, nationhood is the ultimate standard of that as for a people. And so we bring to mind those great ancestors who took us on that path to nationhood. Those great ones such as Marcus Garvey and, of course, Brother Malcolm X, Omawale. And we use these principles in a way that gives us a future to look towards. Not even going to spend a whole bunch of time on the oppression and the history of what we've gone through as a people here in this United States. We all know that. What we need to think about is where we're going to go from here with it. A few things. Number one, Pan-Africanism. We're not in this thing by ourselves. We got a mother continent of people, of nations that have control of them, and we need to have a kind of relationship with them. Number two, unity. We know that's our Achilles heel, but look at us now. They said don't come out there, right? But African people, if we don't have that back and forth energy exchange between ourselves, then we kind of fritter off as a people. So we can't believe that the best thing to do is not be together and love each other. Unity. Number three, organization. Right, Baba Kwame? Organization. Whatever organizational effort, whatever your skills, your talents are, whatever group of people that have come together that your energy could help propel that effort forward. Right now, at this time, we got to do that. In the midst of what it is that is happening outside of the United States, we know that we are the Central Africans at the place where we can make the most if we make the proper moves that we need to. Because the government that we're living up under, of course, is the evil of all the world. So right now, organization, unity, Pan-Africanism. Just having a conversation with the president of my organization, WADU, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, right? And Dr. Jeffries has this thing that he always does about systems, right? Political, cultural, and economic. So this and where we stand and the energy that's going towards it in that self-determining manner of Black Wall Street, not only in remembrance of those ancestors that we lost in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but in remembrance of who we are as African people wherever we are, and that we can recreate that. And so it's beautiful to see that is a true existence. They kept talking about it for so long. Black Wall Street is coming, it's coming, it's coming. And now to actually be here and experience that and feel that Kujichagulia, that self-determination, like in an actual thing you can see and walk inside and buy something. That's a very proud thing. And so, even though later on, today, 5 o'clock at Beloved Community Church, we'll be continuing to celebrate Kujichagulia with Dr. Jeffries and Reverend Slaughter and some others. So, or you can catch it online virtually at Dr. Slaughter's YouTube channel. But that's what I wanted to say to you. Unity, organization, and Pan-Africanism. These things are what make a nation, and the self-determining effort of it is what we need to be looking forward towards in our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Unity, Pan-Africanism. What's the third one? Pop quiz, organization. Unity, Pan-Africanism, organization. Ashe. And Habaragani?
Habaragani.
Kujichagulia, self-determination. Thank you. Next up, we have a songstress in the building, but not just yet. We are going to take just a tad second while our drummer give me a moment. Excuse me. First of all, in real life, is there someone in here with a very beautiful voice? Do not be scared. All right, I made the call. Girl, I can't, these ears, they may be tucked, but I sure can hear. Yes, do you have a beautiful voice? Do you have a beautiful voice? Oh. I mean, you are, but this is the thing. Family, in togetherness, we would like to sing the National Black Anthem. Now, I do not want to, I can sing now. I just, it's not the song that you pay to sit and listen to, right? So I, want to make sure that we have the proper notes and keys to carry us. You know what I'm saying? Because sound healing is real, and I'm not going to take us off tune. You feel me? This is for y'all. All right, so, but you all, may you play with us or lift every voice and sing? Yes. And I don't know. Give her a round of applause, friends. On the spot. On the spot. What? I am proud. Thank you. We appreciate love you. And
it's been a minute since I've sang the entire song, so you guys gotta bear with me. I got the lyrics pulled up. Y'all all want to join in together?
Yes, let's sing together.
Unity. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Yes, I gotta hear y'all sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. And the baby sang the full song, so we're gonna sing the full song. In following, you were there that night. They sang the full song, so we gotta sing the full song. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, whipped in the days when unborn had died, yet with the steady beat have not our wings
Places of God where we met thee. Bless our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our native land. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you. Y'all did great. Y'all did great. Oh, someone asked, what is your name?
My name is Phoenix. People gonna call me Phoenix or Rachel in the community. You can follow me at Rachel Ponder. I drum with these lovely entities. I sing, I dance, and I'm an activist in the community.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, well, I am going to bring up the organizer of this beautiful event. And in the power of self-determination, I should have said this already, I think we should all say our names, you know? Make sure the people know who we have determined ourselves to be for the community. Thank you.
I did earlier.
Well, once again, I'm Aziza. It's nice to meet you.
Okay, if you're gonna come tomorrow, this sister is going to sing her heart out. You have got to come back tomorrow around 2 o'clock. She's gonna sing again, so we're looking forward to that. I want to thank all of you for coming today, all the drummers. Did we have a dancer? We didn't have a dancer, okay, but we had some yesterday. I want to thank the brother Body for calling me in to help with this whole event for all 7 days. And sister back there, Kai, I think she's working in the cigar shop. We all came together to make this happen. And so I guess also I want to thank the libation, Brother Calamari, for coming forward, doing that beautiful libation. And storyteller, my God, you are just phenomenal. Thank you so much. So we're going to end with our Kwanzaa prayer. It's okay. Abarigani prayer. So ask everybody to stand and repeat after me, which is this up in the air. And on the count of time, two after I finish the pledge, we're going to do 7 Harambe's. On the last one, we're going to hold as long as we can. And hopefully everybody in this building can hear us. Okay? Again, my name is Mama Navanti Uncle Wanda, if I didn't say my name.
Yes, thank you.
And some of you know me as the founder of the Copyright Cultural Festival and many other hats I wear. So it's just a pleasure to be here, to be a part of this movement here at the new Black Wall Street Market. Tell your friends to come on out. Yes. Okay. All right, here we go. For the fruition of African power. For the triumph of African nationhood.
For the triumph of African nationhood.
We pledge to our nation. To the building of a better people.
To the building of a better people.
And a better world.
And a better world.
Our total devotion.
Our total devotion.
Our total resources.
Our total resources.
And the total power of our mortal lives.
And the total power of our mortal lives.
We are the first and the last.
We are the first and the last.
The Alpha and the Omega.
The Alpha and the Omega.
We pledge to.
We pledge to.
Think African.
Think African.
Speak African.
Speak African.
Pray African.
Pray African.
Love African.
Love African.
Buy African.
Buy African.
And be African.
And be African.
Because we are African.
Because we are African.
We'll do African things today.
We'll do African things today.
To ensure us of united African states tomorrow.
To ensure the United African States for tomorrow.
On the count of Tatu, we're going to do 7 Harambe's. Moja and Billy Tatu. Harambe!
Harambe, 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 Harambe,
Thank you all for taking time to come out. All right, let's have a good hand. And thank you for the moderator, Sister Aziza. You did a great job. Thank you so much. And we'll see her again tomorrow. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy the shop here.
Yes, I'm Dr. Kwame Osachifo Kalimara, and I'm part of the New African People's Organization, the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. We've been an activist organizer group since the 1990s, the New African People's Organization, 1984. The New African Independence Movement goes much further back than that, and our organization actually is a linear descendant of the RAM, Revolutionary Action Movement of the mid 1960s. We consider Malcolm X and Queen Mother more the parents of the modern New African Independence Movement. I can be reached by email as dr_KALIMARA@yahoo.com. To find out information on our organization, all you have to do is just Google Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, and our website will come up and will give you an idea of the activities that we're doing, not only international but nationally, because we're about freeing our political prisoners of war. We know about Assata Shakur and Nahanda Abildun. We know about Dr. Matul Shakur. All we're about is making certain that we understand the contradictions and that we move our people forward to freedom, liberation, and sovereignty.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I, huh?
Give me your mask. The mask.
I'll just,
See who you are.
I'll just hold it there.
And can you just, let me get that background.
Yeah, give it to me.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll just have you, that's fine. How you doing, sis?
I'm great.
Just introduce yourself. You did a wonderful job here today. Why don't you tell us who you are and where people can reach you?
Thank you so much. My name is Koku, also known as Mama Koku Storytelling, and I can be reached at koku@mamakoku.com. That's KOKU @MAMAKOKU.com.
All right, very good. Good job today.
Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. Holla.
Information.